Scott Satterfield is joining us here at Big 12 Media Days, the Ford Center in Frisco. How are you, Coach?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Just making the rounds here. It's been fun.
Feels like, there's so much talk about all these players in the portal. It feels like Cincinnati is very underrated in what you added in the portal. A guy like Joe Cotton, to me, stands out. I mean, you lost some NFL caliber offensive linemen, but to me, your offensive line's not going to take a backseat to anybody.
No, I think we did a great job of identifying a couple guys on the offensive line. You mentioned Joe Cotton, which was we ended up getting after the spring, and he's a tremendous player from South Dakota, 6'7", about 320, can move. Looks like you want him to look as he's walking around in the building, and. Tyron Tayo came in from Ball State, was a two-year starter there. He's very wide body. He's about 320 as well, playing the guard position. And really, you mentioned that, we had three guys going to the NFL off our offensive line, but to be able to fill in with those guys, I think will certainly help us up front. But we also, I think probably the biggest position of need we had was wide receiver.
Yeah.
And we went out and got a bunch of great wide receivers, and we had to address the issue of lack of speed, and we went out and got some speed. Cyrus Allen played at A&M last year. Caleb Goody can really run, and Jeff Caldwell. Those three guys are really going to help us out on the outside.
Coach, we both really like your team as a major sleeper team in this conference, a team that can make a huge leap forward. We're excited about your roster. Saw you had over 900 snaps last year from true freshmen.
Yeah.
Did you think you'd have that many? And what's the next step for all those freshmen now a year older?
Well, we did think defensively last year that we were going to need to be able to utilize some of our freshmen, and Sanks came in and ended up starting at safety for us the last half of the season. Simeon was a linebacker that had a tremendous year, 30-some tackles last year as a true freshman. Great football player. Those guys are going to continue to get better and improve, and obviously going to be able to help us defensively. But I don't know if we'll have as big an impact this year with our freshmen that we're bringing in. I'm sure there'll be a few that will end up being players for us early in their career. But I did think last year we had a need at defense. We knew we were going to have to be able to utilize some of those players, but. So for me this year, it'll be interesting to see these freshmen. But what I'm excited about is all those guys last year that had all those snaps. Now they're a year more in the program. Right. They get through it, go another spring and another summer. They know what to expect. They got experience under their belt. I feel like those guys are playing and practicing right now with a lot of poise, and I think that makes a tremendous difference.
What happened with Sorsby? I mean, I don't have to tell you, you started 5-2, you finished 0-5, but to me, the passing numbers are just so glaring. Mm-hmm. The first 7 games versus the last 5, he wanted to run a lot more. His rushing numbers were up, but his passing numbers were down. What happened with him?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think, we didn't run like we needed to run at wide receiver, and when we got to the media schedule there toward the end, we had 3 road games last year out of the last 5. Iowa State, Kansas State, and Colorado. I think they were pretty good teams,
Yeah, right.
And we finished with TCU. So, I mean, we played some really good teams there at the end of the season, and we did not do a good job getting loose on the perimeter. And I think, Sorsby just kind of lost some confidence in some of those guys out there, and maybe relied a little bit more on the run at that point in time. I think where we addressed in the offseason, we needed to go get some speed to where when you are getting some one-on-one coverage, you got to have some guys that can run by some guys and separate. And, we feel like what we were able to go get, we can do that this year. We've been seeing that on the practice field, in the spring. And so I think that's going to help him. I think it's going to help Sorsby. You got Joe coming back at the tight end position as one of the best tight ends in the country for next year.
Sure.
Tyree Walker's a great running back that we got out of the portal that played at Wisconsin last year who I thought, okay, we're going to get Tyree. He's going to be, something like a Corey Kiner, a solid back. But, man, he showed some things this spring where he was impressive. Really, to me, one of the more impressive guys coming out of the spring. He's 215 pounds and can go. So – I really think offensively we're able to help ourselves out. I think this will be a more explosive offense. We know we got to score more points, and the last half of the season last year we were not able to do that, and I think this year we're certainly going to be more explosive.
So is this, in your going into year 3, in your 3 years, is this your best core of receivers that you'd say that you've had?
Yeah, it is. I think because we get a little bit of mix. Jeff Caldwell's a 6'4", 6'5" guy that can really run. He came in at 192 pounds. He's 214 now. I mean, and he can go. He can get off the line. Jeff, I think it's going to be an outstanding receiver for us to be that big guy. And then you got Cyrus Allen, who I think, he's as fast as a receiver I've had the first 5 yards. Like, he can explode off the line. And if he catches a hitch, he's able to make you miss and get up the field. Caleb Goody's going to be able to knock the top off. He's a 6'2 guy that, last year had, I think it was 22.5 miles an hour when he played at Colorado State. I mean, I just think, we got some weapons on the outside. Obviously, got to go out and make plays. But if we can hit some of those plays out here, defenses are going to have to play us a little bit different. That's going to open up more, Joe Royer underneath and open up more of that running game. So I do think this is the best receiving core we've had, since I've been there. And I think, and I do think, Sorsby's got the talent to be able to get the ball to these guys. I mean, I think Sorsby's an extremely talented player. I think he's got a bright future.
We talk about 5-2 and then 0-5. Some of these losses were just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, didn't score in the second half against TCU. Disaster at the end of the first half against Colorado.
Yep.
The Pitt game we don't have to bring up, although I just did. The West Virginia game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so, like,
we're so close.
it was, it's unreal.
Right,
like, so what do you do? You go back and watch film? Like, what's your approach as a coach?
Well,
like, just bury the film, forget about it, move on?
No, I mean, we're going to learn from it. I do think, the margins of error, they're so small in this league.
Yeah.
You have to do the little things right. We have to be a more disciplined football team when it comes to penalties, when it comes to playing field position. I mean, field position is huge for us, and I think oftentimes doesn't get talked about. Sure. But in the special team aspect, I hired a new special team coordinator this all season. I think Luke will come in and really help our teams out. That's gonna help us. Hey, starting on the -30 or compared to midfield, that's a huge difference. That's points right there, and I think that's going to help that. And then being more disciplined in the penalties, and then taking care of the football. All those things are going to matter because just if the ball bounced our way a couple times, man, you're sitting there. We could have been 7-0 easily.
Right.
We lost by 3 to Texas Tech. We missed a field goal before half. We missed a field goal at the end of the game. The Pitt game was, I've never seen anything like the Pitt game. I mean, my gosh. I mean, ESPN puts up the 99% chance of winning. We were 99% chance of winning, and we lost somehow. So we're so freaking close. And I think in the first 2 years I've been at Cincinnati, we have not really gotten any breaks. They've all kind of gone to the other team. It seems like in every game we've lost the close games. This year is for us to really come on the other side of that. And I think the other thing that we have not in 2 years, we have not scored a touchdown outside of offense. So 0 defensive touchdowns, 0 special team touchdowns in 2 years. I would say there's only a handful of teams in the country that have that's not what you want to do, that have been able to do that. So certainly we're due to score somewhere else. So I do think this is our best team that I've had since I've been at Cincinnati from top to bottom. I love where our guys' minds are at right now. They're hungry. They're eager to get out and prove that we got a really good program. And, it's not like Cincinnati's been the doormat. I mean, this has been a great program over the last 25 years. And, we've had to go through some things as far as the new conference, as far as, we just got into a brand new facility. The things are really trending up, and I think this is going to be a year of the Bearcats.
Talking Cincinnati football with head football coach Scott Satterfield here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the new indoor practice facility / complex, and you debuted new uniforms a little less than a week ago. A lot of new cool things happening at Cincinnati. What does that mean for your program?
Yeah, we signed a deal with Nike, so we got some new Nike uniforms that came in this summer, and exciting to go out there and sport those things. But this new building, we just got in it 2 weeks ago. It's incredible. The access for our players is the best I've ever seen. The flow of our building is, I would put it up against anywhere in the country, with the locker room to the training room to the weight room all in the one level. We have garage doors that go right into our indoor, so it's seamless transition from the indoor to the weight room. And then you go upstairs, you got a player lounge there. You have all the meeting space. We have a cafeteria there for all our athletes at Cincinnati. And then, of course, the coach's office is up on the 3rd floor. So everything that we need is right there in that building. Our guys, for the last 2 weeks, have really they're there all day long. If you walk out in the hall, you're going to see a player. I love that connection. I think it's going to help us, connect better as a football team from coach to player, and vice versa. It's just tremendous. And credit to Cincinnati and our administration, because they did not spare any expense in this building. I mean, everything that you can think of, we have it. Hot tub, cold tub, sauna, steam room, red light therapy, saltwater sleep tank. I mean, it's
I was going to say, sign me up.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know. I was like, I got to try all these things out, cryo room. I mean, like, it's got everything. So I think it's going to really help us, obviously, in recruiting. When recruits come in, they've seen it, they're blown away by this building. And, so, yeah, that's certainly going to help us.
I'm really intrigued by this defense, too. I mean, you've got, arguably one of the best linebacking cores in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I love the addition of Matthew McDoom, not just because of his name. I'm going to call it the McDoom defense. Obviously, Dante Corleone is back without having to deal with some of the things he dealt with last year. And year 2 for Tyson Veit. Yeah. So I don't know, what are your expectations for this defense, and how much different do you think it should be in year 2 with the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I mean, it's really not been talked about enough, I don't think. It's the fact that we had the same coordinator for 2 years in a row. It's the first time in 5 years at Cincinnati that's happened. And we add the additions we brought in. I love our linebacker room. We got 6 guys that can all play. They could all start, which I love to have that depth at linebacker. Because in this defense, the linebacker is going to make all the tackles, a lot of the tackles.
Right.
McDoom, we needed some help at corner. We brought in McDoom, and I think he's going to be a great addition there in the secondary to be able to, play. I think that's probably the biggest question mark on our team, quite honestly, is the secondary. How can we defend the pass, particularly at corner and the safety? And we brought in, Christian Harrison came in. He started 6 games at Tennessee last year. That was really going to help at safety. Like you mentioned, McDoom. Logan Wilson, we was a safety last year. We put him at corner, so he's our other corner. He's a very physical corner. So I'm interested to see how these guys pan out and play in the secondary. But being his second year, we're going to be able to do a lot more things with the defense. Last year, 90% of our defense was the same. We predominantly just lined up and played defense without doing anything, in particular. So I think that's really going to help us. But, and to be able to have the Big Daddy up front, the Godfather back, healthy, because he did not even go through camp last year. They really didn't even play till about mid-season, where he really, in the rotation and play. He's feeling so much better now. He's worked his butt off, and he's got something to prove this year. And I think I'm really proud of him. Gavin Gerhardt is our starting center, who will be a 3-time captain for us. Like, those guys stuck it out. They signed with Cincinnati. They stuck it out through all the transition that we've had over the last few years. And nothing would make me more happier than those guys to go out on top as winners. Get back to postseason play, and obviously our goal is to get back to Dallas and come to Dallas and play in the Big 12 championship.
All right, Coach. This league does a lot with the WWE. If you were entering the ring as a WWE wrestler, what would your walk-up song be?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one, man. Somebody asked me that this summer, and it was Waka Flocka, Hard in the Paint. I'd probably go with that again. That'd be a good walk-up WWE
Would
song.
You be a heel? Would you be a bad guy? Would you in wrestling?
Yeah, I probably would need to be a bad guy in wrestling. Because in real life I'm not. I need to be that inside the ring.
Yeah.
One of those sneaky bad guys.
That's exactly how I see you. The guy that nobody expected to be the heel.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Scott Satterfield, head football coach at Cincinnati. Good luck this year, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.